Peace and blessings, everyone.
Peace,
Welcome back.
peace.
Welcome back. This is the Future is Black podcast. We're here for episode 2. Episode 2, where we are spotlighting on black entrepreneurs' success stories. Join us as we shine on the extraordinary journeys of the black tech entrepreneurs who are breaking barriers and achieving remarkable success in the world of technology. In this inspirational podcast, we will dive into their stories, challenges, and triumphs, reminding us of the immense potential and innovation within the black community. Peace and blessings once again. My name is Nasir Gifted, and I'm here with my co-host,
Delonte J. Bass.
and we are here for the Future is Black podcast. I mean, this episode, we're super excited. This is a spotlight on black entrepreneurs, black tech entrepreneurs' success stories. Last week, we covered a number of things, but one of the things that we definitely want to talk about is the importance of representation in black tech industry, in the black tech industry. We want to always touch on that and then kind of set the tone on.
Chambers McManaman, a high-rank.
Oh man,
It's all right, man. This is live. This is tech.
we want to highlight and speak to the success stories of black tech entrepreneurs. We're going to cover a few today, but we want to talk about the power of representation and how representation is so important within this space. You know, when we talk about Afrofuturism and we talk about tech. I got a couple of names that we're going to jump into, but I wanted to definitely talk about, representation and why representation is so important, within this space. I mean, we always talk about, creating and controlling the narrative, but also the exposure and being able to see someone who's doing something that's super powerful. Today, we're going to talk about... Yo.
I was letting you finish.
Yeah. No.
All right.
Yeah. So, the power of representation. Why is it important to have representation within this tech space and in the tech industry?
I mean, it's important because it's like representation, as far as the next generation, so they have somebody to look up to, and also equity. Was though when you talk about people bringing stories that represent us to come to life, a lot of times you'll have tech and we can't relate to it. Like, for example, if you talk about science, right, and the health industry, a lot of times the health industry is not based on the indigenous brothers and sisters body anatomy. So that's why we need people to be there, or just like, when you talk about tech and science, it's all the same in some sense. So we need people to make sure that we're being represented so we can go further in society too.
I mean, yeah, and just speaking to that, the power of representation is so important, within this space, because we need to be able to connect, be able to see ourselves within this space, be able to see ourselves within, technology and the seats that, people are currently sitting in. So Calendarly is a app that most people use to be able to schedule appointments, from a sales piece. A lot of people don't know. And even if you look at the, profile of the individual, is Tope Atona. Tope Atona is Calendly CEO. He is at the $1.2 billion mark, which is his net worth currently, which lists him at number 2,282 on the Forbes list. So, that puts him at the bottom of that. But a lot of people don't know about him or his story, as CEO. He came to the States here from Nigeria at the age of 15 as a teenager, went to school here, went to college. And upon going to college, he actually started several startup businesses and then worked corporate as well. And the journey that he talks about is about failing early and failing often. So his early entrepreneurial adventures were not too much of a success, I would say. But he learned a lot about building companies, and then from there, kind of pretty much took those failures and turned them into successes. And then he pretty much did a investing round where he raised about 200 or $380 million for his for the Calendly during the pandemic. And a lot of people use Calendarly. And I'm gonna say Calendarly, but it's Calendarly. Where they make appointments, and it allows you to streamline your appointments and everything. That's one of the things from business to business. When you have an appointment, generally when we do this, and he found the problem and looked and found the solution for it, right? So basically he took, the whole back and forth with email. I want to make an appointment with you, Delonte. I say, hey, how's next week sound? And you be like, oh, okay. I'm available Tuesday and Wednesday, 12 to 2. And on Thursday, I'm available from 3 to 4. With Calendly, the app or the actual, website or whatever, you can just pretty much share your appointment book, and then I can go in as a client and just pick the time that I need, which speeds up business. Because once you have an individual who's interested, within your particular business or service, to be able to schedule that turned ROIs for businesses tenfold, right? And then also he, from my understanding with the challenges and stuff, he ran out of money. And we know how to make how to make a dollar out of 15 cents. It's hard to stay legit and still pay the rent. So we look at that, but he took that as a way to kind of get the app out and then actually made it free. And then when he made it free by mistake, because he actually ran out of money, he actually was able to monetize off of the app, and then was able to do in-app purchases, and to be able to have a premium service that allows you to be able to do the upgrades and everything. So that's how he grew the company, and now he's worth $1.2 billion, right? So just looking at individual stories like that are something that's truly inspirational, but also gives us an opportunity to be able to say, hey, what are the lessons learned from individuals like him and individuals like ourselves who've been doing the work and find these challenges, pitfalls, and everything, but wants to give up. Because failure is a part of success. You only truly fail when you don't continue to push forward. And in technology, you have to fail early and you have to fail often. And when I say fail, and they actually say the rule of thumb is to fail fast and often, because if you fail fast, you don't wait 6 months down the line. You actually fail within the first month, so you can be able to learn from those mistakes and then be able to improve upon it. And that's also like a part of the whole engineering design process anyway, where you build, test, modify, and then kind of keep going through that circle of events and everything to be able to build a quality product.
Now the question I have, right? Sometimes we say you have to fail. Now the question is, do everybody fail? Because sometimes we get into this habit of saying, like, we gotta struggle. No, everybody don't struggle. Mm-hmm. Everybody don't fail. There's some people who done mapped out things so well that it turns successful. They know the blueprint, or they have things in their favor so they don't have to fail. Because I always say it's numerous ways to learn. Mm-hmm. You can learn. There's 3 ways you learn. You learn by going through it, experiencing it. You learn by someone telling you, and then you can learn by watching. Mm-hmm. So now you have in our field, when it comes to tech and success, before we even talk about fail, a lot of times we didn't even start. Mm-hmm. And then, for me, when I think of entrepreneurs of our culture within the tech field, it's like we don't take the big risk. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when they talk about entrepreneurs or they talk about, it's like the same thing, like applications, this, that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm more caught on to the hardware,
Yeah.
like the manufacturing. Where we at there, because that's why one person I thought of mine is Freddie Figures Communications.
Okay.
He owns his own telephone company, compete with AT&T, Verizon, all that. Got his own phones and stuff like that. So because everybody got a phone now, that's like the hardware. So it's like somebody like Freddie Figures, he has the actual product, which is a phone. Then he has the service that he's providing.
Mm-hmm.
So this entrepreneur I hold in high regards doing this thing as far as in the communication field. But when I think of where do we go from here, like how can we create more entrepreneurs? How can we create more brothers and sisters in the field of tech success stories? There's a lot of them out there.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is we're not sharing it on the social media platforms.
Oh no, because it don't look sexy.
Yeah,
that's not real sexy.
Yeah,
you know,
it ain't drama.
Yeah, definitely.
So if it's not drama, not sexy, it's not appealing, or they feel it don't gravitate. But it's just that we locked in this certain state where it always got to be drama, or we don't believe that person product is worth something, because a lot of our people lack value in themselves. So since they can't see value in themselves, they can't see value in others. So
that's powerful.
So what happens, you find someone comes out with something, first thing we say, oh, he got a little business or a little this.
Oh yeah, he got a little something.
Yeah, just how your little restaurant doing, right?
Yeah, you belittle it before you even get started.
Yeah, and another thing we do, we tend to validate our things or our movement based on if white people like it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of successful people in tech.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is because they're not validated by X, Y, and Z, we don't feel they're worthy enough. Like, for example, if one of our own say something about health, tech, science, it's here. But let what's my man from Elon Musk say the same thing, all of a sudden it's valued high.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And sometimes he be saying some nonsense, but we have to break out of that.
Definitely.
And we have to really, really start believing in each other and taking each other serious. And also, we have to respect each other's hard work and each other's educational level and skill set. So, like, when I think of tech, when I think of this movement and where we're heading, we as a people going to have to come together and just create our own institutions.
Oh yeah.
You hear Umar talk about it all the time. Institutions.
And for those of you who don't know, we talking about Umar Johnson.
Yeah,
we talking about Umar Johnson.
Give him 20 lashes.
20 lashes.
And
we just gonna pause right there.
Yeah.
You're tuned into the Future is Black podcast. If you like what we talking about, make sure you comment. Let us know where you tuning in from. Hey, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Hey, share it with a friend. Let people know all about us. We're doing this. Once again, my name is Nasir Gifted. This is
Delonte
J. Bass. And we are the Future is Black. Produced by Focus Black Star Media. What is the Black Star?
Yeah. And, there's a side of whether black, white, there's rules to business that everyone has to follow. Marketing, finance, your bookkeeping. What else am I missing? Plans, your business plan, or how you set up your business. Taxes, all that has to be in play. And so sometimes we'll have an idea. Another issue we'll have an idea, but like you said, we never put it to the test in the market.
Oh yeah, you got to test the market.
So,
I mean, you got to research the market.
Yeah,
You know.
and we don't. And sometime our success, we also have to study location.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I know sometime your business may not be good at that particular time or place.
Oh yeah, it's
And
definitely timing.
You may need to leave your city.
Sometimes you may have to leave your city.
You gotta leave your city.
Oh yeah, and we're coming from the cube here,
Yeah, we're in the
the
cube.
capsule,
Yeah.
the capsule.
We zoom down in the capsule for y'all. So we want to just say, hey, you got to look at all these avenues. Since we just talking about entrepreneurship and tech, so my advice is to do your research.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have to do your research.
I mean, yeah, and there's case studies for a ton of this stuff. If you're interested in any business sector, you could go to Harvard Business and download for less than $10, depending on what companies that you're looking to research, especially those in the tech market, and even any other types of businesses. If you're into entertainment, if you're looking at pharmaceutical, any of those markets, they have market research on those particular companies, because you need to know what the top 5 are doing within any business industry, and then being able to take that, and then of course understanding that level of it, but taking that information and using it and shaping it to fit your business and what you're going to do and how you're going to go about solving problems. Because with all of this, you're looking to solve a problem, and hopefully that product or service is going to be something that it not only impacts you as an individual, but impacts your family, and then ultimately impacts your community.
Yeah. Totally agree.
And this podcast is actually sponsored by H2O.
Yeah, clear water.
Clear water.
Clear water. It's not an actual company. We just saying it's
Yes, it's just clear water.
Yeah.
As you can see, no labels here.
Yeah.
We're not sponsored by anyone just yet.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, just talking about representation and kind of tapping in, to some of the real powerful things. I mean, we're going to get more into a number of the entrepreneurs, but as far as their success stories, especially in tech, one of the things that I've noticed, I mean, I always think of the iPhone, right? The iPhone, Calendarly, and a number of other tech companies that we're going to kind of reach into. But one of the things that you think about when you talk about the smartphone and everything, it does 99.9% of what it says it's supposed to do. But every so often, I mean, it used to be more often than now lately, you get what we call an update. And an update is based on the bugs, based on, the consumer. The consumer works out and interacts with the products, and based on that feedback, they improve the product accordingly. And that's something that, we as entrepreneurs need to be able to do, is be able to, take quality feedback, not individuals who are, just being spiteful or hateful or anything like that, but receiving feedback, but taking that feedback and using it to improve our product or service. And especially within tech, we're always looking to build, test, and modify. So we're always looking to modify our particular product or service. So that's something that we want to do, especially when we're looking at how do we measure success and being able to, move into that area of success.
So what would be your parameters of saying it's successful or not?
Well, I mean, generally we set goals, right? So, I mean, if you are looking to hit a certain revenue number at the end of each month, that's one of the goals. If you wanted to get the product or service into a certain number of clients' hands or downloads, depending on what the actual product or service is, those are something that's measurable that you can use to be able determine what your success looks like, but you determine what your success looks like. We are looking at growth, each and every day, every week, when we're talking about, tech within this space of the podcast, because, beyond us being underrepresented within this space, this is also the fastest growing industry, by the numbers. So to being able to, bring light to that, is something that we want to be able to do. But the IT support areas, within the next 10 years is a 9% growth. The chief information officers, IT managers is 10%. Those are all things that we want to be able to do, and being able to bridge the gap. And one of the things I also wanted to kind of talk about is there is a wealth gap, right? And one of the ways to kind of, close the wealth gap that's within the Black community is through tech. Research has shown that through tech and with all of the, the various job opportunities and opportunities in general that are not being capitalized by the Black community, for instance, is actually by the year 2050 is going to increase that gap because of the loss of revenue that we're not being able to take advantage of. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to kind of put this podcast, so we could be able to close that gap and expose our community to the various opportunities that's out there to be able to do these things.
I agree. Because certain, you have certain ethnic groups, like, for example, the Indians from India.
Mm-hmm.
They tell their children when they're going to college, go for these fields and these fields only.
Mm-hmm.
Science, technology, or a doctor or pharmaceutical.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going for no social service. You're not doing none of that stuff, because they look at it like, or cybersecurity or whatever. They say, hey, it pays 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
So if all three of your kids go to school for making 100,000, compared to you going to school for social service making 50,000 when you come out. So we have to begin to do the same thing. Like, really tell like it, nope, you're not going to school for that.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to steer and direct.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just based off of this article, how to close the Black tech talent gap. One of the exhibits, or one of the projections, is talking about the wealth gap, right? So the Black wage gap in tech is projected to increase by 37% by the year 2030, resulting in more than a cumulative $350 billion, and that's $350 billion in lost wages for Black families in 8 years, right? So by us not taking advantage of these opportunities, we're missing out. And if we're not steering our children, our nieces and nephews, to these different STEM filled opportunities, because I'm always say opportunities because, it's not always about, just getting a job or a career, but also taking advantage of the opportunities within the space, because we need more Black and browns within these spaces.
I'm going to go back, because we start off talking about blacks, whatever you call it, Black, more indigenous,
Oh, yeah.
People go by different names that claim their tribe, But one thing we have to talk about when we talk about entrepreneurship in the tech industry that we kind of didn't discuss is some of the problems we're having is, one, it comes from we need more people in that field. So say like if I'm starting my own company, I'm looking for more brothers and sisters in the science or the tech field so I can hire and move forward.
So creating pipelines.
The pipelines, the job creation. But one issue why we have a problem is company evaluation. And venture capitalists or investors. Like, for example, if you take a Caucasian person, they can get venture capitalists and people to pour in millions of dollars
definitely
to their idea. And here we can have the same idea, even better, And most we can raise is $5 million, 2 million, where they can raise 300
without a premium credit score.
Yeah. So when you have that, these are the things we have to overcome. We have to overcome as far as getting funding.
Yep.
That's our greatest issue. Like
Oh yeah, and let's talk about the barriers and the challenges. When you're starting. I mean, because regardless if it's tech or if you're going into a service product industry or whatever, we still, as a black community, kind of face these same challenges.
It's so bad. The sisters who started their nonprofit giving funding to other sisters, the white guy in Congress, whatever, went after them and felt they shouldn't do that. Try to cancel their organization. Like, what is it? You don't want to see us winning.
Oh yeah.
They don't want to see us winning. So what we have to do, when some of us make it past that threshold, they have to come back, and we have to begin to set up funding institutions that provide funding, black-owned banks, credit unions.
Oh yeah, definitely, to be able to fund some of the,
be able to fund some of this, and then when you make your money, you have to invest back into the bank, invest back into the different people that invested in you. So it's like a cycle, and we're not doing that. And the funding is one of the most key elements for us. If we don't, you can have the greatest idea, but if you ain't making no money, it's just an idea or a hobby.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So a lot of people, we need to figure out the best strategic way to gain the capital we need for the businesses, and we have to create a model outside of the typical banking model.
So what you talking about? Cryptocurrency? What we talking about?
No, not on that level. I'm talking about like in the Jewish community, right? They have a thing where they have a fund that if you're Jewish, you can go to the community and ask for money.
Oh yeah.
And they'll give you money and you pay it back, and that's it.
Yeah.
We have to treat that type of thing in our community. Like, and we
can support each other. I mean, and I know this is somewhat off topic, but it's kind of going back on topic because just understanding history and the technology at the time, right? I didn't know the story of Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I learned, very recently that it was started by two brothers. Yeah. And I'm not blood brothers, but two individuals who purchased 40 acres of land.
Yeah.
And they were very intentional, and they invited individuals to be a part of this. And they pretty much ran their own community where they invited all of these individuals to parcel a number of the land and open up these businesses. And then from there, started to grow the community.
But don't mean to cut your bill, but it's happening. It's happening. See, we up north, our capsule, we landed in the northern region. But you go in the south?
Yeah.
It's brothers and sisters in North Carolina.
Oh, in Georgia, they bought land and everything too.
Cats is buying
Freedom
land.
Town.
Yeah. The Hereafter Farm.
Yep.
They're doing that. They're buying land, dividing it up, selling the parcels, things of that nature. And it's a movement of everybody up north starting to move back down south.
Yeah. I mean, and the only reason I kind of mention that story is because when we talk about successful businesses, they were very intentional about what and how they actually opened and funded particular businesses. So being able to use that and kind of speak to the model that you were talking about within the tech space, kind of using that as well. And then the same technology, not the same, but going back to black inventors and scientists and everything, Alexander Miles, who created the elevator door opener, was also a part of the result of how, the whole case of the individual young man who was running away fell, on an elevator and accidentally brushed up against a white woman, right?
Yeah.
This same individual was accused of, molesting or sexual assault, which started this whole, domino effect of events, where eventually, protesters wanted to, hang this young man. And then the citizens of Tulsa, Oklahoma, stood up against them. And then as a result of that, and one of the individuals, the protesters, white protesters, grabbed the gun of the individual, and being that he didn't release it, then that set off a whole number of events that eventually led to the large massacre that actually happened, that burnt down all of those businesses of this Black Wall Street.
People don't know when it first happened, they rebuilt it back up and they came and did it again. But this has happened all over. It was over 30 different destruction of black towns. But bringing it back to creating things. What I noticed, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle, when he was creating his own little science institution or his community center. What we need to do is create institutions. Like if you go to a college like an engineer, NJIT, they got laboratories. And if people don't know, if you're a college student and you come up with an idea using their laboratory,
70-30.
they go on 70% of your idea or you're off the door.
Mm-hmm. They'll do you justice and get the patent for you.
Yeah,
they'll pay for the patent.
Yeah. But you only get 30%.
30%.
But the point I'm making, we keep creating community centers in our community, and all we doing is playing basketball, jump rope, things of that nature. We need to create a community center where we have labs in there with people, chemistry labs,
maker spaces,
spaces.
tinker,
like,
just be able to tinker with things, because
welding,
woodworks, robotics, all of those things, electronics, because truth be told, we were allowed to do that. I know we talked about creativity last week and, some of the things. I mean, we made slingshots, we made clubhouses, we made all of those things based on the technology that we had access to. Imagine if we actually had real resources instead of just taking the wood that was in our backyards to be able to kind of, leverage that to build, these clubhouses and these slingshots and all of this other stuff that we did as young people, as children.
Because if we have the resources, right, and we create this center, this institution that has all the tools necessary, so we do it. It's the same as ghost kitchens, but instead is a ghost laboratory, is a ghost machine shop, is everything in this joint to take your product from start. Take it from your mind to an actual product, right? But also through that, we can create organizations and corporations within the institutions on top of people coming using the service, right? Like, for example...
Wait, hold on. I think you just giving them too much.
Yeah,
you giving them too much, man. You giving them too many jewels right now. You tuned into the Future is Black podcast.
Right.
We out here.
That's something I'm working on.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah, man. They're gonna rewind that 3 times, and then next thing you know, they got the whole plan. But we definitely are excited about definitely building a technology community center. Where young people get to tinker, get to build, build, test, and modify.
Not just young people.
Well, when I say young people, I'm talking about curious minds, right?
Yeah.
So I'm talking about adults, because being able to just get in spaces and be able to just play with stuff, we learn through, experience, right? Yeah. And you kind of talked about that earlier. that we learn through, 3 methods, and one of them is through experience and being able to play. To be a better chess player, you have to get your reps in. You have to play, chess a number of times because you see stuff, multiple ways, and being able to develop strategies to go around it. But technology is that same thing. I deal with young people each and every day, and one of the things that they think about is I'm not good at math, right? But they mentally tell themselves that they're not good at math. It's the same thing as if you're working on your jump shot. And I asked a kid, I was like, "Well, how'd you get your left hand good when you playing basketball?" It was like, I worked on it. Well, you got to work on your mind, when you doing these type of things as well, to be able to sharpen your mind and work on your tech skills as well. So those are something that we can definitely do as a community, and working with young people or young adults or curious minds.
You know what? You brought up a point that, like working on it, right? One thing we also have to work on is being in the know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my job for all the people watching this podcast, right?
Make sure you tune in, and if you tuned in right now, let us know where you tuning in from. Let us know what you let us know if you like what we're talking about, right? And what you feel about what's going on. This is the Future is Black podcast. Every Thursday, we coming to you live. What is the Black Star?
But one of the things we have to do is we have to stop living in the past also, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, like we started off the podcast, your job at home is from now on, find people in today's time that's doing something big. Like we'll talk about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. No, find someone in today's time and hold their name in high regard. Like, when we talk about a person I want to mention, like today's time, something we like, we love cars, right? So one person you say, man, I want to design cars. Now we got somebody like Ralph Gills. Ralph Gills is the one who designed the Chrysler 300. He brought them back, the Charger, things like that. So he's somebody we'll talk about now, instead of always waiting for the past. Like, give people their flowers now.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I mean, and plus, I mean, just by you tapping into someone, I think of it like how we were in college, right? Yeah. We tapped into those individuals that were a year or two ahead of us. Why? Yep. Because they told us what professors to take, what classes to take, what not to take. Yeah. And then they had books, they had resources, right?
Take this book.
Take this book. And so they actually gave us game. They caught us up on game early. Yep. So being able to tap into these people, are definitely something that is a resource, because while they are alive, we want to give them their flowers, but also tap into their journey, because we want to talk about success stories and everything, and how they actually got to where they are. What was their path? How did they maximize on opportunity? How were they ready for the opportunity when it came their way?
And what's crazy, right? A homework assignment that can be for you or your children, whatever business you in. Research. Your goal is to research successful black people in that business, on that field. Oh yeah. Or you make your children say, all right, this week I want you to research 3 successful black scientists. Then the next week I want you to research 3 philosophers, but they must be within the time frame. Like within the past 4 5 years to now. They can't be a black poet or artist or whatever. It can't be somebody 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah. So I mean, it's so many people that's entering in this space that's so powerful. I mean, Sheena Allen, best known as the founder and CEO of a fintech company and mobile bank called Capway, right? No caps on this one, but it's called Capway, and it's a mobile app company. She graduated from University of Southern Mississippi and double majored in psychology and film. You know, so just knowing that she didn't technically have the, you know, an app or computer science background, but things are so much more accessible now. You know, you could get on YouTube University to kind of learn things.
Yeah.
And for anybody who's interested in developing their own app or anything like that, a lot of people don't know that one of the barriers used to be, you know, the programming language and all of that stuff. But nowadays, to even develop an app and actually put it on an app store, it is less than $200. I used to tell my young people that, like, it's just less than $200 to be able to put your app on an app store once you actually build it.
Yeah, so you know, we just want to encourage progress, encourage support, encourage opening your mind to new venues, new avenues, and don't limit yourself. You know, that's the main thing we want to take. And through that, we want you to see that through tech. You know, like, you can do this. We don't have to look up to Bill Gates, Elon. We got our own.
We got a ton of individuals who don't get their flowers, and we want to and throughout each and every week, we're gonna make sure we big up some of these individuals. You know, throughout, and you know, individuals that's breaking barriers, you know, based on their success story. But we're gonna drop jewels, you know, each and every week. You know, this is the Future's Black podcast. Tune in each and every week, 8 p.m. on Thursdays. You know, and my name once again is Nasi Gifted. My co-host is
Delonte J. Bass.
Delonte J. Bass, and you know, we're going to be talking about Afrofuturism. We're going to be talking about tech, and we're going to keep you engaged, you know, throughout this journey. This is just something. Go ahead, brother.
Also, we want the people to know, each week is not just going to be me and him. We're going to invite guests that's in certain science, tech, STEM field. And also we're going to be going to certain places that deal in that genre or that field.
Because we want to give you firsthand experience on what it is to be involved in tech. Like, we talk about tech because we've been immersed in it, you know, I mean, shoot. Almost since birth, but just being able to be curious and just figure out things, that's always been like the engineering mindset, because as we know, engineers are problem solvers, right? So they solve problems in various disciplines. So I'm always, you know, gonna never knock the fact that we're engineers, but understanding, you know, that there is something out there that, you know, you may not know about, but your curiosity is what's supposed to make you, you know, move forward and push through and navigate obstacles and challenges that you may face within this space. Neither one of us thought about, you know, filmmaking, thought about creating comic books or games or any of those things. Even the festival, the fashion. We had a clothing line back when we was in college, and we used tech to be able to kind of do that. And we figured it all out because we saw a problem and we looked to solve it. You know, and that's something that we are always pushing. Oh, I mean, and I believe, you know, we got the Future's Black, and you got Osira wear over there. Still here. You know, still here. You know, still pushing all of this stuff, man.
Doing the fashion.
I mean, and I think about our journey and you know, our own personal success stories. You know, we've started about 5 to 6 businesses, and I would say they were successes and failures, ups and downs, you know, and I only would say that it was a failure because we stopped, right? We had a clothing line that was official conscious wear, and with that, you know, a part of our group, you know, the PB soldiers that did that, you know, we didn't exhaust. We did a whole lot with a little bit. You know, we did the magic show. We did all of these different things and leveraging technology to kind of do these things. I mean, I know if we had the mindset that we have now, we'd have did things a lot differently. But one of the things that we did know was when you don't have something, you make it happen regardless, you know, and that is something that we talk about, perseverance and resilience that you build up as an entrepreneur, you know, within the tech space and everything, to be able to, you know, kind of push you forward.
And one more point, you know, to add on to that, when you have your business or your tech or your idea, there may be at times where you have to let somebody invest in it on a part of your idea, because like they say, would you rather have 100% of nothing?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Because some people be holding on to these things and like, nobody,
scared to
take a risk, and you holding on to it so tight. I remember when we were working on the first comic, and I was like, man, we got to get it out into the universe because. Yeah, like you said, 100% of nothing, because if there's nothing out there that for people to be able to see, and then, now we understand how to put it on, all the various platforms, the App Store, on Google, the Amazon Store, and all of these other things, leveraging technology, when we didn't have a print press or any of those other things, but we were able to use programs and everything, to be able to design stuff and then put it out into the universe for people to be able to consume.
Yeah, you may have to also give up some ownership of your company.
Yeah.
That's something you have to think about, but we ain't going to hold y'all too long.
No, we're not going to talk about that. Yeah. So we definitely want to encourage you to, if you like us, hit that subscribe button at the bottom. Yes. This is the Future is Black podcast. Each and every Thursday, we're going to come to you 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But, we dropped in through the capsule. We're in the capsule here. It's very cold where we are right now. We want to go to where some heat is at. We want to definitely
Downtown Realty.
Yeah, big up to the Downtown Realty, Melvin Studios, where we're actually doing this, podcast. So, tune in each and every week. We're going to hit you with a number of things. Next week, we're going to talk about, episode 3. We're going to break barriers. We're talking about breaking barriers, and we're going to talk about black women in STEM and STEAM. So, once again, we're going to talk about...
We might have some in here in the studio.
Yeah. We're going to talk about black women in STEM and STEAM because, even though... blacks and browns are very much a minority within this space. Black women are even more of a minority within this space, and we want to be able to highlight and showcase a number of the individuals who are doing some really, really powerful work out there, and be able to give them their flowers, man. That's what this is about, giving them their flowers and giving people exposure, because we don't grow up next to these technology individuals. We're immersed in it, but those individuals don't live next door to us, so we can't have that type of that level of exposure, to be able to do that.
So, with that being said, we out of here, brother.
We out of here. You sure, man? I think we out of here. Yeah, Thank you for tuning in. Yes. Thank you, everybody.
See you next week.
See you next week. Peace.